Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. Thank you all so much for being here. So today we're going to take a look at the new moon that's occurring on July 5th or 6th, depending on where you live in the world. We're going to take a look at each life path number and what this new moon could hold in store. Before we get into the forecast, this is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading or forecast for your own personal numerology, please go to my website and book some time with me. I would love to work with you and take a closer look. All right, so let's take a look at what this new moon has in store for us. Life path number 8. This new moon for you all is bringing up the energy of the 1 and the 2. So this is really interesting because this is kind of bringing in two sides of self, right? The need for independence, the need for asserting yourself, especially when it comes to your connections with others. Where is it that you are sort of losing yourself in your relationships? Where is it that you are showing up in a way that minimizes your own needs and focuses on making the other person comfortable? Or where is it that you are sort of dominating in those relationships and being overly assertive and not taking the needs of others into consideration? So when we have the 1 and the 2, right, the 1 is all about self. It's about our, being assertive and going after what we want and our own self-identity and not losing that sense of self, our independence, etc., our autonomy. And of course, the 2 is about relationships and relating to others and connecting with others, finding balance, harmony, seeing all sides of a situation, compromise, etc. So with this energy coming in around this new moon, it's certainly going to be highlighting for you all. There's definitely going to be a strong focus on relationships, and it doesn't have to be romantic relationships solely. It can be any connection. How are we showing up to those connections? Is it an equal exchange of energy? Is there reciprocity? Or are we sort of minimizing who we are in order to accommodate the other person? Or are we dominating that connection where we need control over that connection so that we can, so that we don't get hurt, or so that we can see it sort of transpire the way that we want it to? And where is it that we need to either pull back a little bit or push forward a little bit more, right? Like where is that we can either take up more space or allow the other person to take up more space within that connection. There's a lot here, definitely around assertion, like asserting yourself. And this can, again, be like in business relationships as well. So if it comes to, let's say you own your own business, this is going to be a time for you to evaluate, are you giving your clients more than you are receiving, right? Is there reciprocity with your clientele, your client base? And what I mean by that is, maybe you need to charge more. Maybe you are sort of just giving your product away because you don't want to, you want to be fair or whatever. But you can still be accessible and fair while getting what you need out of that equation. When it comes to like romantic relationships or friendships, same thing. Is there reciprocity? This energy is really having us take a look at, am I taking up enough space in my connections? Am I taking up too much space in my connections? Am I there for, the other person as much as I expect them to be there for me? What are my expectations of these connections? What are my expectations on myself? So there's a lot of like exploration to be had here. Especially when it comes to ourselves, our own identity, our space, the space that we take up within the world, right? How we contribute, how we stand up for ourselves, how we speak up for ourselves. It's not about setting boundaries. It's really about having standards, right? Like having your values and your standards and being clear on those and communicating those and embodying those. And being very clear about it, right? And having those honest conversations, but also being open to and hearing what the other person has to say as well. And, finding a way to meet in the middle in some capacity. So definitely a strong focus here, 8s, on your relationships, but I would say, again, relationships across the board, especially as 8s, right? Because 8 is such a powerhouse type of energy. And there's a lot here where the 8 sometimes feels like it needs to be in control of the situation in order to see the results that it's looking for. But that's not always necessarily the case. Sometimes you have to know when to give up the control, surrender, and allow others, trust others to be able to do whatever it is that you call them in to do, and to do it well, without needing to control the situation, especially when it comes to friendships or, any kind of relationship. Where is it that, trying to control the outcome is actually having a negative effect on the relationship? Where is it, though, also where you're not speaking up for yourself, where you're not asserting yourself, where you're not taking up more space within those connections? So yeah, a lot here to look at it when it comes to your place in the world and other people's place within your life, and how you're showing up to relationships, how you're, your confidence, etc. So a lot here around those two very interesting energies, right? So with the one, you might feel this need to really assert yourself, to have more independence, to break free from anything that sort of feels too heavy or restrictive. But then with the two, it's saying, okay, but where is it that we can sort of broaden our perspective? Where is it that we can see the other person's experience as well? Like listen to what the other person has to say and find a way to meet in the middle, where you're not sacrificing yourself, but you're also considerate of the other person. So there's a lot here. I mean, I could spend 6 hours talking about this, but yeah. So pay attention where it comes up, where you feel like you need to take up more space, where you feel like you are being depleted in certain connections. Because if you're feeling depleted in connections, whether it's a work relationship or a friendship or a partnership, it's because there's not reciprocity. There's something where it's either too much give, too much take from you or from the other person, and it needs to be sort of equalized. And it takes work to get there. So it's not going to be just a matter of, okay, well, let's just snap our fingers and it's going to happen. It's going to take effort and, honesty and truth and, open-mindedness and connectivity in order to figure out what that common ground is and how to get there. So a lot here around releasing the need for control, understanding that, we need to take others into consideration as well, finding that sort of healthy common ground and meeting there, without sacrificing ourselves, without minimizing who we are and minimizing our own needs. So a lot here, eights, it's a big energy. I hope it's a beautiful new moon. Definitely could bring in some new insights on how to show up for self, as well as how to better show up to your relationships to get the most out of them for all involved. So I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now.